Welcome everybody to the Single and Stiletto Show. I'm Suzanne Oshima and I'm a matchmaker and dating coach at Dream Bachelor and Bachelorette, and I'm also the founder of Single and Stilettos. Today we have on our show Matt Adams, and he's a dating specialist at GoOutWithMe.com. And I'm so excited to have him here today because today he's telling us the number one thing a man looks for after looks. But before he tells us what that secret is, Matt, I would love for you to tell our audience a little bit about you and how you became a dating specialist.
Sure. Well, for me, I was in a really bad relationship, and when I got out of it, I didn't know what to do. So I took a dating class, and about 9 to 10 weeks into that, I was going on 5 new dates a week. The men around me saw that I was getting results, and they started asking me for help. So I started helping, and then I started taking coaching a little bit more seriously, but not too seriously. I was in between careers at that point, so I had signed up and enrolled in cosmetology school. While I was there, I started talking to the women about the work that I was doing with guys. Naturally, things kind of exploded, and they wanted to know stuff too. They were asking me for help. So then I started hearing the other side of it. I started helping them too. When I graduated, I got my license, I got in the salons. I kept talking about the work that I was doing outside of the salon. And finally, the women in the salon just said, you have to go do that. And this was multiple women I heard this from. You have to go do that. You have to go help people. And so they really encouraged me to get out there and do that. And I did, and it's such rewarding work, and I love doing it.
Which is exactly why I'm having you on the show, because my women want to know what's the number one thing a man looks for after looks. So, Matt, tell us what the secret is.
So, for me, it's personality. I love someone's personality. That's really what attracts me to them. Mm-hmm. If you don't have as juicy a personality, you got to work on that a little bit. You got to kind of develop yourself. So for me, that's what it is. But a lot of the men that I've worked with have said to me that it's a woman who can actually add value to his life. Now, what do I mean by that? Are you fun? Are you flirty? Are you adventurous? Do you take care of him in little ways? Do you care about his interests enough to get involved? Can you cook for him? If he brings you out to dinner, can you cook a meal for him in return? What are you doing to help his life? Those kinds of things are how a man is assessing you as you're kind of going through the dating process. And I'll go into a bit of a story here about the relationship that I'm in now with my girlfriend. Mm-hmm. When we started dating, her personality was like the number one thing. And I really, really liked her. And we got along great. And it was her personality that really attracted me to her. Mm-hmm. That was short-term type stuff. Now, someone, if they have a great personality, that's great for a short term. What else do you have to offer? Right. So as we were dating over the 2.5 months before we made it official, I noticed her doing things more and more and more. And those things were showing up in my life, contributing to what I was doing. For instance, I run events here in Boston, and she showed up to an event that I had scheduled at the beach, and she brought blankets. Like, simple thing, but it was something that I had overlooked. And there was so much of that going on, and I started to assess that, and I said, this would really be a valuable woman to keep in my life. And that's why I made the decision to, make our relationship more concrete and take it to the next level. And we're still together today, over a year. And, I'm really happy with her.
Well, and I like that example that you brought up, because I've heard this a lot from men too, and I've interviewed a lot of men. And in your example, what she was doing was she was being really supportive of you and what you do for a living. And I know that's important to you. But not only that, it was that small thing, like you talked about bringing the blankets. It's right. Those small things that make a huge difference. It's not about money that someone's spending. It's about that she thought of you and she thought, well, this would be nice if I brought this for Matt and me. And, and like you said, you didn't think about that. We as women do think about those things.
Exactly. And if you have a high value guy in your life, he's going to recognize value. Value recognizes value. Mm-hmm. That's why people who have very opposing values in life really can't make a relationship work long term. You have to be with someone who has the same values. So whatever your values are, you're going to recognize those same values in someone else.
Exactly. And I want to go back to what you talked about, what a lot of the men that you coach say about a woman that adds value, because I've heard that too from a lot of men. And it's very true. And one of the things that you brought up, and we can talk about all the other things, but the one thing that you brought up that stuck out to me, and I want to really emphasize this to my audience, because all too often I hear too many women that say, I can't cook, or I don't know how to cook.
Yeah.
And it sounds so simple, ladies, and I will tell you that you need to learn how to cook. It sounds so archaic and blah, 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 but you know what? I can't tell you how many of my male clients say that's important to them. Yeah. It's not saying that you have to be chained to the stove and cooking for a man all the time. That's not it. That's not what men want. But a man would like a nice meal. And that old saying, a way to a man's heart is through his stomach. Matt?
It's true. It's true.
See, ladies?
It's true. I'm thinking of my girlfriend in the other room here, and she sold herself as like, I'm not Martha Stewart. Okay, well, personally, I think she's wrong. I love her food and the things that she's been cooking for me, and just the way she makes her corn. She steams corn. My parents used to boil it, so it's totally different. But it's like, wow, that's so much better because I don't know. Anyway, yes, my heart through here.
Yeah, and ladies, even if you don't know how to cook, just learn how to cook 2 meals. There's cooking classes today. You can go do that. And it's not that hard. I didn't know how to cook a long time ago, but I learned how to cook. And you know how I learned how to cook? I actually watched the Food Network all the time, and that's how I learned how to cook. So if I can learn, you guys can learn.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's worth the effort. It's worth investing in yourself, because that's a skill that you have for the rest of your life, and it makes you more valuable to yourself, let alone a man.
Exactly. And if the women, if some of the women in my audience are still of childbearing years, Matt, can you verify this, that if a woman can't cook and a man still wants to have children with you, he's thinking, well, with my children, who's going to cook the meals and take care of the children? Doesn't a man think like that?
Yeah, absolutely. There's one client I have in particular who's very concerned about getting married. Mm-hmm. And he has a little bit of apprehension about taking care of a woman financially when she can't bring things like that to the table. So it's absolutely a concern for guys. It is something we're thinking about. If you're going to be taking the time out of work and we have to be the sole financial provider for a little while, what are you going to be doing at home to take care of the kids? Exactly. Are you going to be able to cook and make food and do those motherly duties that are required of you these days?
Yeah, because you can't go out to a restaurant every night with infants.
No, you can't. Been there, done that. Crying, screaming at the table. No.
Exactly. So what were some of your other things about adding value? Because I want to comment on some of those things.
Sure. So how do you add value to his life? Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to use examples from my own life. My girlfriend, she showed up. Whatever it was that I was doing, she was supportive. For instance, I run a meetup group here in Boston, like I said, and we did the beach thing. She thought to bring blankets. I have a bowling event, and she would get in and help some of the other people get started. She would run the lane and get people in there and accommodate them and just show up every time. If we were going to another event that I was doing, like a dance night out or like a social event, she'd be inviting other people to come out. She'd invite friends that she met from other groups. She'd invite friends that she met through the same group at other events that I did. It was just constant support and constant value.
Yeah, and that, and I used to run events too, so I know the pressure you're under when you run an event. And for those in my audience that don't run events, it's a lot of pressure and it's a lot of stress with the showing up and getting people going. So I know, like when you just mentioned what she does at your events, I know how that felt. It took a ton of pressure off of you because you didn't have to worry about that. And you're like, wow, she just did this without me asking for her to help.
Right. Like she saw what I needed and she stepped up. And honestly, I had stopped dating for a while and just kind of was waiting for the right person to show up, literally show up in my world and show up metaphorically when we're together and just kind of be supportive of me. So, just thinking it eventually brought it.
Exactly. Well, these have been some great tips. So Matt, tell our audience how they can find you.
Go to your web browser and type in www.gooutwithme.com and you can check out all the work that I'm doing there.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for joining us on the Single and Stiletto Show. Our show is available both in video format and podcast format. If you'd like to view the videos, you can go to singleandstilettos.com. And if you'd like to get the podcast, you can download it from iTunes. If you'd like to get our free ebook on the 3 secrets guaranteed to attract any man, you can click right here on the video or you can go to singleandstilettos.com.